It's me, Andrea Reynolds, aka the Social Studies Whisperer. I'm a native Atlantan who recently followed her heart to Asheville, North Carolina. This week, I bring you episode 10 of my weekly Top Hits show and companion historical happenings blog post, which you can find a link to in the show's description. So I've observed the trend of social studies losing momentum in education over the past several years. It's not even tested in my state at the elementary level, so that means it's even less of a priority. It's the first thing to go, but at what cost? Are we raising a generation of informed citizens if we just drop humanities? Of course not. So I'm on a mission to make history hip and help teachers find ways to integrate it into literacy and incorporate it into instruction in bite-sized increments. Bus call, line up for recess, transitions. You know you've got to spare 5 minutes here and there. I'm going out of my way to share fun facts because you never know what might spark an interest in your students. And my solution would be my weekly Top Hits. Top Hits are 3 lesser-known historical facts that occurred this week so that you can plan ahead to use them with your students. These helpful ideas may integrate literacy, technology, and support a wide range of learners. Make today in history a daily habit your students look forward to. Okay, you've got my why, so let's get started with the what for this week in history. The week of October 29th brings us the stock market crash, the Stamp Act, and the birthdays of President John Adams, James K. Polk, and Warren Harding. Side note, how cool would it be to have students make a graph of presidential birthdays? There's way more math than you would think in American history, right? You can learn more about these events with links in the blog post. Now let's get on to Top Hits, which are more of the did you know variety. Way back in August, okay, it wasn't the way back, but it feels like it. In episode 3, I mentioned the Great Moon Hoax and the power of the press and mass media in influencing the general public. Well, Top Hit 1 is perfect for the week of Halloween. Americans received quite the scare on October 30th, 1938, when Orson Welles presented his radio broadcast of War of the Worlds. The performance was based on H.G. Wells' novel of the same name from the previous century. Orson, who was only 23 at the time, included special effects and so brilliant of a radio show that the people listening thought it was real and panicked. Have students create a timeline of the evolution of mass communication and popular entertainment, beginning with the newspaper all the way to the digital age. Students can even draw parallels between how voice is used for entertainment today with the resurgence of podcasts. Anchor is a super simple free app you could have students use to create their own. Also in that same episode, I mentioned Althea Gibson, the first African-American woman to take part in a national tennis competition. I also made note of how I wasn't familiar with Gibson before researching that week in history. Another sports pioneer I didn't know about until researching this week is Earl Lloyd. He was the first African-American basketball player in the NBA. This Top Hit 2 happened on October 31st, 1950, years before the Civil Rights Movement. He was only 21 when he joined the Washington Capitals. 2 other African-American men joined the NBA that season, but their season started later, so Lloyd is credited with being the first. Lloyd said his teammates were welcoming, which was not exactly the same experience baseball legend Jackie Robinson faced, but fans were not. Believe it or not, he was drafted during the season and sent to war in Korea. When he returned, the Capitals were no longer, so he joined the Syracuse Nationals, who later became the Philadelphia 76ers. He also became the first African-American full-time coach in the NBA. Earl Lloyd was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2003. Students need to know his story. I'm sad I didn't know about it until now, but happy to share it with you. And now, for Top Hit 3, I present to you a massive aircraft. Long before Richard Branson and his aeronautical schemes and dreams, or Elon Musk's quest to go to Mars, we have the Spruce Goose. I had to include it, y'all. Its name rhymes. I honestly didn't know that much about the details of the story either. I'm learning with you every week. Okay, with every new war, the need for new technology increases. During World War II, the need for a way to move men and supplies long distances was great. So the Hughes Aircraft Company was brought in to finish an epic project designed by a man named Henry Kaiser. And that Hughes was, of course, famed movie producer and aviator Howard Hughes. The H-4 was begun in 1941, but not completed until 1946, after the war was over. It took a while for Hughes and his team to construct the giant aircraft with a wingspan of 320 feet due to wartime rationing of steel. He used mostly plastic and birch. The little bit of spruce he used gave it the white appearance, which led to the Spruce Goose nickname. Care to venture a guess how much this project cost? $23 million. Because of the massive amount of money and time it took to complete, Congress demanded it be put to the test. On I keep saying October, it's November, y'all. November 2nd, 1947, Hughes took what was described as an aircraft taxi and flew it for about a mile, 70 feet above Long Beach Harbor. That was all she wrote for the Spruce Goose, as many people thought the prototype wasn't worthy of mass production. Until 1976, a great year I might add, the eccentric Hughes paid to have the SG in an airplane hangar at the cost of $1 million a year. Today it's on display at a museum in Oregon. This event could be a social studies STEM crossover or have students research other new technology from World War II. Or maybe have them come up with hashtags for the Spruce Goose. This wraps up this week's top hits. Don't forget to check out the blog posts for events for every Monday through Saturday. Find it in the show's description, and also sign up for a weekly reminder at bit.ly/SSHooks. You'll get my free lesson hooks cheat sheet too. But wait, there's more. Are you in my Facebook group for teachers called Social Studies Salute? I would love to have you. Thanks for watching, and be sure to let me know if you used any of these top hits. See you next week for episode 11.